Welcome to the tavern. Two average guys that are fed up with politics and trying to do something about it. With us today, we have a little roundtable discussion. Actually, it's not really round.
We failed shapes in preschool.
He's Jack, I'm Dennis. We're usually your hosts. But we have Margaret, who's in from New York. Jack's sister. We have James, who's in from New York. I've known James for 32 years. And we have Jack's brother Mike, who just moved down here from New York.
Got Junior behind the camera.
That's right, Junior's he's our recording guy. If it wasn't for him, don't even go there.
For those of you that listen to the podcast, this is our first video recording of it. We have a duplicate of this week's in regular audio. We were talking about Dennis's glasses, how he mugged an old lady. Well, apparently he tried to throw us off, but he now mugged an old man for his glasses.
Caught him though.
Yeah, you got his pillbox too?
I caught him. So this is our first video recording. We've actually tried this twice before, and it's beating us. It's not going to beat us again.
Maybe we keep running out of film.
It's not going to beat us. I bought another SD card, so we're good. So we're just going to go around and tell a little bit about our group and what we're about, and why everybody decided to get involved. So Jack, you want to start us off?
Well, we started this group, me and Dennis. We met at work, like-minded folks. If a lot of people will say, what mind, but we're like-minded. And we started the United States Constitutional Group. Right behind my son in that little table back there. It was me, Dennis, and Jack for a few meetings.
Probably about 3 or 4, yeah.
Then we said, hey, listen, let's get the word out better. We'll do a podcast. So before we started the podcast, I think we did a Facebook. Or was it vice versa?
I think we started the podcast first.
Right. So we did the podcast, figured that out. Then we got Facebook, dragged my sister into it, Margarici. And now we got a whole, look at this. It's like our own version of the 5, just better dressed.
We're the real 5.
We're better dressed. So anyway,
better hats.
You know, the people running this country are not doing their job. So we're going to try and show as many people as we can how they're not doing their job and why they're not doing their job through the 3 major writings that made this country. We're going to try and show you how our politicians and leaders today are wrong on every level through the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States with its amendments, and the Federalist Papers.
You good?
Good.
All right. So the name of the group is United States Constitutional Group. Like I said, we're on Facebook, and we're basically about education. I think we feel a lot of people lack education on the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, just about everything about our history. Kids today want to change it for some reason. It doesn't need to be changed. It just needs to be reread.
They don't understand that it's not supposed to be. They're taught this. They weren't taught true American history. They're taught that the Constitution's living, breathing, should evolve like nature. But if you read the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution,
the only thing that needs to be changed in the Constitution is term limits.
Yeah.
We need term limits, and that's we'll talk about forming a new party in a little while when we gang up on James.
Yeah, James.
So just go around, see why we joined our group. Margaret, why don't you go first?
I received a phone call from my brother. He said what he was doing, and I heard a couple of podcasts, and they were soliciting somebody to deal with their Facebook, and I volunteered. So I joined them because I believe that they do have concrete information and knowledge and heart and soul to actually do make the changes that need to be made. So I jumped aboard.
She does a great job too. She keeps Jack in line.
She likes to meet strange men at the tavern too.
At 2 o'clock in the morning. At 2 o'clock in the morning.
Do not be texting me. Do not be messaging me, please.
Yeah,
don't message her at 2
going.
o'clock in the morning.
Nobody's going to meet anybody at the tavern at 2 a.m.
Right.
Besides, this is our tavern. We say who meets.
Right. This is it. This is the tavern. We have our bartender. We have our ice maker.
We have a huge Trump supporter.
We have a Trump supporter.
Jim, you
How's
want to
that?
go next?
Well, Dennis introduced me to his group, about a year ago? Is that when you guys started?
About a year ago.
About that, and at first I didn't pay much attention to it. I mean, of course, we all have our busy lives. But as I read more and more into it, you know, and just the way things are today, this country is going right down the drain. Inflation, border crisis, you name it. You can't even go to the grocery store and afford their prices any longer. It's getting ridiculous. And
If it's on the shelf.
what does it say? What is the next generation gonna face? I mean, our generation's getting hit right now, but what about our kids and our grandchildren? I mean, I might not even be around at that time, but boy, when they get to be our age, what's it gonna be like for them? It's gonna be horrible, based on the last 9 months of this administration. This is an outrage.
He's
People
been in
should be
office
upset.
just over 200 days.
Yeah.
250 days, something like that.
Yeah, we've got more and more trouble. We're a laughing stock of the world right now.
So I wore this watch today on purpose. I usually don't wear watches when we're doing this. If I'm off of work, I don't care what time it is.
That's right.
But next Saturday is going to be the 20th anniversary from September 11th. I haven't been there since I walked away the last time after the incident. It was a little bit after it. Biden is going to be trying to make a huge push that September 11th is all about him. And to anybody that goes to the memorial on September 11th, and if he, or the Pentagon, or wherever he goes to make this play, I'd like everybody to wear a watch, and in the middle of his talking, just look down at your watch, see what time it is, and walk away.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Why don't you tell everybody about Jack Jr.?
Well, Jack, you want to tell everybody about you? No.
You like this, folks?
Come on, you can come out here and show your good side. No?
No?
All
Let
right.
Adrienne come out here and you don't come out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jack's gonna be 30 in November. He is a champion Special Olympics. He's been doing the Special Olympics since he's a little kid. We moved down here. He does golf. He does swimming, bowling. Did bocce ball for a little bit, but golf and bowling are his main. He likes to do swimming too. Swimming was big when he was in New York. Jack got to go to nationals twice with his brother Brandon and won gold. Both times he went to Texas, I forget where in Texas, El Paso, and he went to Reno in Nevada. And
Nice.
yeah, that was Brandon's 21st birthday. They both went up there, so
Oh boy.
Jack taught him how to be a degenerate gambler.
And he won.
Yeah, Jack.
And you won.
Yeah, Jack.
No, Brandon
Oh,
won.
Brandon won.
Yeah. Jack takes care of me and his mother all the time. Takes care of his uncle. Make sure he's always okay. Every morning he goes over there. And Jack's a good boy. He helps us with all the recordings, audio and now video. He's the man behind the scenes for us. He runs the South Carolina page for the United States Constitutional Group. He's got over 100 members there. He does very good.
Nice job.
He's a good boy.
You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you,
We
Jack.
appreciate the help.
It's great father-son time. I enjoy. We get to play golf together. We get to do this group together, and we're gonna big plans ahead of us. And me and Jack will be doing it together.
Mike, just tell everybody about
It's your
you.
turn, Mike.
Well, I joined because I think they're right. I don't think any of the elected officials right now know the Constitution. I don't think any of the kids now are being taught the Constitution. And I think it's time people, first of all, I don't think you should be allowed to be voted in if you don't know the Constitution. I think that's part of the problem. I think, and you know, I think these leaders don't want anybody to know it. And that's why they're getting rid of churches, because people communicate in the churches. At the church, they talk about politics, family. things they don't want you to talk about. Post office used to be a big gathering for communications with the town. They used to speak politics, family. They don't want that happening. What they want you to do is put your headphones on and listen to them tell you how rotten America is. They don't even communicate one to another anymore. They're looking at phones and listening to them. Radio, stories, whatever they're listening to, they're not communicating with each other. And I think that has to change. And I think what they're doing is very important. And I do believe in their term limits. Everyone should have term limits. No more of this 10, 20, 30-year politician.
Totally agree with you there. We also have Angela. She's also in New York. She's also helps us with our Facebook page. And if it wasn't for everyone here, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So thank everyone here. We appreciate all the help.
This is our crew. If you think you can go against it, bring it.
That's right. Like I said, Fox News might have the 5, but we got the real 5.
Yeah, look at how we dress. Wrinkles and all.
And we're doing this in my living room today.
Yeah.
Usually we do in the spare room, but I got some family coming for the weekend.
First 2 attempts were done in the spare room.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
It was fun.
It was fun.
I don't know what to do with this camera though.
I don't know where to look.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do.
yeah. I think we should get a little red dot so at least we have something to look at.
That'd be
Look
great.
here.
Right.
I just forgot my notebook. Dennis has papers, I don't.
I don't know.
I'm prepared. So if you want to contact us, uscg20211@aol.com. We're also in the process of writing a book.
Mm.
It's going to be the first 16 podcasts that we do. And we changed it around a little bit. Jack doesn't know about it yet. He'll find out when he reads it.
Yeah, hopefully that's out by the end of the year. That'd be nice to get. I gotta set up my little writing table.
We're just waiting for him. So we're just going to go around the room, see what if anybody has any questions, what we want to talk about. So I want to get everyone's take on Afghanistan. Was it done right? Could it have done better? So, Mike, you want to start us out?
Oh, it could have been done better. First of all, I don't understand. They had 2,500 people, 2,500 military there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was no fighting going on. And I don't understand why Germany has thousands of military. And the Korean border has thousands of military. And I understand everybody wants their family back, but I think those 2,500 military people should have been there and stayed there and rotate.
I should have took them out of Germany.
We need that. We need that airport. They have the minerals that we need for computers and batteries. And how could they not think? And now they're putting their trust in the Taliban. They are liars. These people are liars. And they're giving them money. They're going to be getting money from our government, China, and Russia.
Right.
They are going to be able to plan some plans in the future. And I think that future is going to be real fast this time. And it's not going to be good for the United States.
James, you want to expand on that?
I think the Afghanistan crisis was a disaster. I don't know what Biden and Harris were thinking. It's absolutely horrible. The Trump plan was a lot better, and President Trump himself got on. I think it was one of his recent rallies. He said my plan was to get all the Americans out, bring home our military equipment. $85 billion in military equipment. Can you imagine? That's our tax money that was handed over to terrorists. Unbelievable.
According to today's report, though, or yesterday's report, not yesterday, what's today? Thursday's report.
Yesterday.
It was millions.
Well, we're supposed to be doing this Monday, ain't we?
Well, no. Not this one. That's only a podcast.
Okay.
This is a YouTube guest.
They were, all of that was supposed to be inoperable as I watched them having a helicopter flying along on the ground.
Yeah.
So, I don't know
What about
how.
all those guns?
The helicopters are, I mean, Mike, we saw a video of it flying along.
And the Humvees, right? Weren't they driving all over the place?
Go ahead, I'm sorry to interrupt you, James.
But, I mean, who in their right mind, what president in this world would give terrorists all that weaponry.
Well, we had another president that gave Iran billions of dollars
Yeah.
on the ballot to cash, untraceable. Here you go, good luck.
And
Because they're
guess who
trustworthy.
his vice president was, right? So
Right.
it goes-
Huh?
Where the
Wasn't
money-
he in charge of foreign affairs as the vice president?
Yeah, it's working out great now, isn't it?
Guy's a genius.
But anyway, we need to nip this in the bud because, and Jack, you have it firsthand. You were there 20 years ago. I mean, our Twin Towers went down like pancakes, and God forbid that ever happens again. And I don't know. This administration better step up to the plate and stop hiding and start answering questions to the media. It's because this is just getting so bad. So,
Speaking about the media, 0 seconds have been covered on every, except for Newsmax, because that's what I get, and Fox News. I don't have the other one.
OAN?
Yeah, I don't have that.
Newsman, you said that?
I have Newsmax, yeah. Besides those two, and again, I don't have the other one. All the other news agencies have covered that phone call with the Afghan president. 0 seconds. Apparently, Biden was on the phone, and the Afghan president, the guy that took all our billions of dollars, John Hopkins University professor, called and said, "Hey, big brother, we're in a lot of trouble." And Biden said, "Shh, look out another window. You'll be okay. Don't tell nobody you're in a lot of trouble. Just take our billions and run."
Margaret, what's your take on it?
Well, this is my opinion. So I believe that Biden is in with China, and this was all a deliberate act. It's what China wanted,
Nice.
and they had no resources to not follow what China said because they believe China has everything on him, and to keep himself in presidency, he has to follow through. It's very sad. I hope I'm wrong. That's how I feel. What president pulls out your troops and leaves your American people there? What president pulls out their troops and leaves all their equipment there? Did you see the pictures of them in our gear with our weapons? How
60,000 night vision goggles they got
You
now.
think that might help them out?
so
At nighttime.
Huh? Right? I
you
mean, that's unbelievable.
yeah you set them up to be successful in hurting us, the American people. And talking about the American people, okay, you say 90% of them are out. That's what the president tells us. I don't believe that's a true number. There are so many thousands of people that were brought here, but they were not vetted. They were supposed to go to a hub and then come here after they were identified. They weren't. They found in Michigan a man who was brought here who was a rapist and was already turned away and sent back to Afghanistan. It was back here again. They have no idea who's in our country right now.
No.
And we know that we have American people there. It has nothing to do with that they don't want to come here. It has to do with he failed in his mission. And listen, I have nothing against all the military that did a phenomenal job in what they were supposed to do. They were instructed to do what they had to do, and they got the people out the way they were told to do. This has to do with the administration. It has nothing to do with our military. Mark Levin had said in Hannity, now I didn't hear it, this is my father was talking to me, it was very powerful. He actually read a page from Eisenhower's book about how on April 12th, 1945, he had actually went to Germany so that he would make sure that it wasn't propaganda and that it was actually factual to what had happened so that the people would realize this is not fake, it is not exaggerated, it happened. And then he goes on to say, you know, these are our American people that were left there that are going to be tortured, that are going to be raped, who are going to be killed, who are going to be left there in that environment. And then he goes on to say, listen, do you hear the shrooms? He says, listen, do you hear the bullets as they execute in the evenings when it's dark? He says, listen, do you hear the babies crying? And then he says, stop, just listen. Biden, do you hear it? Do you hear them crying, Biden? Every day when you close your eyes.
You should hear them scream. Scream. You should be ashamed of yourself. These are our people over there that you left. And then try to say it was their fault because you let them know back in March. Disgraceful. We need to get our American people back. Because I don't want to hear them scream.
Well done.
That was Mark Lavelle. I just,
No, she's talking about the Jewish death camps,
yes.
and we all know that was an atrocity. And what the Taliban are doing with their people, it's the same thing. I mean, they're doing public executions. It's wrong. With the military, I was in the military. I was saying never leave your troops behind. Never leave the American people behind. There's still over 300 people that they say are left behind that were at the gates that were trying to leave, and the military was told just leave. What does that tell us as the American people? We look weak in our adversaries' eyes and even our allies' eyes. This country, we're in trouble. We're on a collision course with it's going to be bad unless we retake this government. And then Biden, even though we shouldn't say his name, the White House occupier,
The timekeeper.
yeah, the timekeeper,
Timekeeper, I like that.
timekeeper, he needs to resign. He needs to resign today because
Along with his...
blood is on his hands, along with his top military commanders.
Yes.
This isn't the military I remember. We're a fighting force that everyone was afraid of. Not anymore.
Not because of our military.
Because of our leaders.
They'll fight you every day.
Right. Again, it's not about our military. It's about our administration.
So, our top military guy, Secretary of Defense, Audrey? You know his name is? Not so easy.
Well, you know what? I don't come prepared. You just invited me here.
Well,
You should have listed names.
Anyway,
so
Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chief of Staff, Milley, said there's a possibility that the Taliban will help us with ISIS. So, who's the number one guy in the Taliban? The United States has a $10 million bounty on him. Who's number two in the Taliban? The United States has a $5 million bounty on him.
Number 3 was in our Guantanamo Bay that Obama let go.
Right. So here you have, somebody had asked, what are we going to, hey, listen, you're saying that these people are working with us. Number one and number two is $15 million in bounty. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. That's the answer. They don't talk about it. And the press doesn't press them. The press's job is to,
Investigate.
investigate. Again, you have the AP is supposed to be right up there with the New York Times, rents a building for who knows how many years from Hamas, and goes, oh, we didn't know that's who our landlord was, Hamas. So there's your investigative reporting. But, press was invented to keep a check on the powerful. So Saul Alinsky, we told you folks about Saul Alinsky. He wrote a book on socialism and the 8 tenets that it makes for successful
Become a socialist state.
become a social state. We should put it on our website as a read. You'll hate every word, every page. You will be ready to throw up every time you read that book. But you should read it because what's going on right now in our entire government, not just the White House, but the other house also, Department of Justice, the Supreme Court, this is Saul Alinsky all the way. And then one of them is control of the press, education, debt,
Religion, gun control,
religion,
healthcare.
healthcare, food, farming.
Well, it's not even getting into farming, right?
Yeah, well, we got to look into that more. We're going to make a podcast on that. We have seen some people on the internet talking about something that Biden had passed, 30-30. But we're going to look into that before we talk about it. But anyway, again, they're looking to pack the Supreme Court. The press is state-run media, except for a couple of outlets. They want universal health care. They're controlling our food. The farmers are getting so much money from the government. You know, education, kids haven't been to school in a year. So anyway, but Afghanistan, you know, Biden keeps saying we don't have an interest in Afghanistan. If they didn't attack us on September 11th, 20 years ago, would we be in Afghanistan? Maybe in 20 years we wouldn't have been, 20 years ago. But today China's another player, and China borders Afghanistan. So, you know, he's trying to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, but he's not. He's not, because this man is running this country with what ifs. And my mother always told me, don't worry about what ifs, there's nothing you can do about it. What if we didn't get attacked because Afghanistan let these terrorist groups train there? You can't what if. They did, and we're there. And now we find these minerals, and then we find that they border China. And now China, in the last 20 years, has a bigger military than we do. They're taking over the South China Sea. They're taking over American industry. And don't forget about this, folks. The Muslim religion is unforgiving. And there is one thing about the Muslim religion. They have Sharia law. Part of Sharia law is you're not allowed to collect interest. So if you open a bank up in a Muslim country, you can't collect interest on it. So you know what the stock market did? The stock market opened up a trade, interest-free, and it's almost as strong as our Dow Industrial for this Muslim religion in our country, because they can't collect interest. People don't know about that. Start understanding what's going on in your country. Find out what the dirt is under your fingernails. You have to start educating yourself and take care of your family. Afghanistan is the tip of the iceberg. These are the things that are in front of us that we know, that they tell us about, that we're allowed to see. What about the other stuff that we don't see? We don't know what's going on. What's coming around the corner that's going to catch us? Just like September 11th did. We're not prepared. Our government's not prepared. I mean, Louisiana got hit with a hurricane and went all the way up to the coast. You think Biden's going to get any of these people to get you think his FEMA's going to be running correctly? I mean, the most important agency in this man's life is the military, and he can't get that right. You think something way down the totem pole like FEMA is going to do the right thing for these people, for the American people?
You know, there's a lot of corruption in our government, and we'll talk about that in a little while when we gang up on Jim.
It's coming your way, buddy.
Yeah.
But
Nice hat.
we don't have the script. So we're just average people that are just fed up with all these politicians and the crap they put us through every day. You know, we know there's millions of more people out there that are just as fed up as we are, but they're afraid to get involved. You can't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get involved. We need to take back our government because it is ours. As Jack likes to say, get away from that idiot box. Get away from that idiot box and go talk to your friends, neighbors, families. Get involved in clubs, and you'll find out they're just as upset with
Start
politics
talking
as you
to
are.
people.
Just
Start
like
talking
Mike
to
Start
said.
talking to people.
Just like what my brother Mike said, the scariest thing to government is grassroots organizations. Little League,
Yeah.
right? You think there's no
Cub Scouts.
Cub Scouts, they got
Moose
rid of the Cub
Lodge.
Scouts. Moose Lodge, Elk Lodge, church,
VFW.
anything that's going to get you and your neighbors together.
They don't want that.
That's bad news for them.
Remember, we the people are the biggest political party.
Constituents.
The constituents, we have the right, we have the responsibility
Responsibility.
to overthrow these clowns.
It's our duty.
These tyrants.
And you know, Jackie, we're talking about the Muslims. Do you know that religion, they recruit or you die? Nations, they take over.
What do you think the Crusades was about?
Yeah. And Russia, when I was a kid in the schools, they taught me this is what Russia plans for the United States. They said they were going to take over the United States without firing one shot. Socialist.
Yep, they're
Throw
close.
them in there, let them do their job, and now 60 years later or 50 years later, look what's going on.
So,
Yeah.
Margaret,
You
what's on
see,
your mind?
you see how Mike gave that generalization. He doesn't want to tell you how old he is. Sorry, folks, but Mike's job is at the tavern is responsibility of alcohol.
Sorry.
So we're gonna keep him out of camera a little bit.
A little bit.
Margaret, what's on your mind? What questions do you have that we can talk about?
Well,
Let me back up. Oh, there's a lot of me to back up. Go ahead.
you know, I have a lot of concerns about the socialism, definitely. I have a lot of concerns that people refuse to listen because they're so indoctrinated. I'm concerned about there's at least 2 decades of indoctrination, and as these kids are growing, they are not expanding their thoughts and they only see it one point. I have a concern that the younger generations wants to eliminate the United States Constitution. They don't believe in it.
Why do you think they want to get rid of the Constitution? Probably because they don't know, right?
They don't know it, and they've been since well, a little bit older than kindergarten, but at least high school, they've been told that this is no good. It needs to be amended. It's wrong. It's, you know, everything under the sun but what it is.
Racist.
So
It's
as
racist. Everything is racist.
so as parents
So-
out there, you have these children that are being told about the Constitution, but yet have not read it. So as your job as a parent, get the Constitution. It's 20. You'll get the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and probably the Declaration, all in the same book for about $5, and
It's
you can
on
get
the-
it free on our website. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So that's a big concern of mine, and as I talk to people, the feedback that you give back is as you try to educate, they get angry and they
Thank
walk
you, ma'am.
away.
You're welcome.
So they will not give you the time of day to even have an explanation or a conversation about anything because they do not have the proper knowledge to debate you back. So they just get angry and they leave.
They go
And
by
I'm talking-
feelings.
Right, there's a lot of hurt feelings with it, it's a lot you
Feelings.
don't understand, you know, we need to take care of everybody, and you know, the Democrats are the ones who actually put all these programs in place, and then they weren't maintained, so now you want, you know, I've been talking to a younger generation, they say, well, nobody should be hungry. Yes, nobody should be hungry. And you put them on welfare, you put them on food stamps, and you try to take care of them through the programs that are available, but there's no limitations. These are supposed to be stepping stones to give people who had a bad time a hand up, and then you give back. It's not supposed to be a culture, it's not supposed to be a way of life, and this is where you can have conversations with the generations from like 30 below, because they feel that this is the way it should be. They don't understand that once the government controls their food, controls their health care, controls their
Education.
livelihood, their education, that they will have no choices, that they are going to have to be dictated. And you might be 60 years old and wind up with cancer and not have your own insurance, and the government will tell you, well, you're not valued to go through this medication because you're too far gone. These things are real. These things are going to happen. Medicare is actually going to disappear, and it's going to be a socialized medication for all the elderly, and it's coming. I don't even know by the time if I retire if it's going to be available for me, and that means that you're going to have to abide by their medical laws and rules and
And they-
regulations.
And they hate the older. Obama hated. If you're 70, you don't get nothing.
Right, because they
That's what
feel
he
you're,
wanted.
you're not worthy of,
Yeah.
of
If you're
it.
not, if you're 70, there's no sense saving you.
Right.
What Margaret said was right, though. When these politicians, society changes, and then politics follow. So these politicians, they go ahead and they change social norms, and then the politics follow. See, the social norms, they change them, and then they say, see, we're right. We got to change our policies. We got to change our politics, because society is telling us social change is here. And let me tell you something. When Medicare starts saying that the money is going to cost to keep you alive, your value is not worth it, go home and talk to your family and discuss how you want to go out of this world. Because they don't believe in religion, they just think you're going to go in a box. So as soon as that starts happening, remember one other thing that happens. While they stop paying for your medical bills because you're getting old and your value is not there, they stop paying into hospitals and medical stuff. People come from all over the world to the United States because we have the best care there is in the world. We are cutting edge, light years ahead of every other country in the medical industry. As soon as we join the rest of the world in this health care that they want for everybody. After they stop cutting you, they stop cutting hospitals, they stop cutting schools, so all the education, hospitals, and care go away. Remember, when there's a few ruling the many, the few want the money for them and don't really want to pay for the many. So your road work will go away, your medical will go away, your crops will go away, your gas. I went to Cuba.
Your housing.
Hundreds of miles of beautiful oceanfront parkways are there without one pleasure cruise boat out there, because nobody can afford them and they're illegal because you're going to run right to Florida. Not one commercial, fishing, or export. There's nothing in their seas. It's just empty for miles. You get the occasional cruise ship, but now the United States is not going there, thank God. Because Castro does not deserve our funds. That's what's in head, just like Margaret said. First they change your social standing, then they change the politics to follow the social standings. That's how it works. You know what, I learned that from Eric Bowler on Newsmax.
Right.
And then isn't it like Biden had an agreement with Sanders to actually have this
Oh, yeah.
social,
We did that, we did a 6-part series.
And that's actually
Yeah.
the 2020 Democratic agenda for the
That,
country.
that is
The
last
whole
week's,
thing.
yeah, last week's
Sorry,
podcast.
The White House Occupier and Sanders
Yeah.
Manifesto. But James and I, we worked in corrections for many years. We were partners for many years. And when we talk about healthcare, he is probably the one that understands the most out of all of us how important healthcare is. And I don't know if he'll discuss that, but because that's personal. But how important is healthcare, Jim?
It's very important. Fortunately, we have the same health insurance, you and I. Fortunately, I'm very grateful for my health insurance because it has come through for me over and over again. The amount of times that I've been hospitalized. And I don't mind talking about it. Actually, I like to talk about it because I'm in certain groups to help people become aware of that. About 13 years ago, I had a kidney transplant, and I received it from a donor who had actually passed away in an airplane crash. And the guy was maybe about 42 years old. He was in pretty good health. And I've been going strong ever since 2008. And thank God the amount of hospital times I was there is so costly, it's unbelievable. And I had dialysis done for 2.5 years, and each session of dialysis is billed at like $4,200. The medical cost is just unbelievable. But anyway,
Why do you think the medical is so expensive?
I think it's
You think it truly costs that much?
No,
I don't. It's usually worked out to a lower
It's the lawsuits.
cost. But it's billed high to the insurance.
Right. They have
The
the
hospitals and the doctors. I mean, you go to a dentist nowadays, God, what they bill the insurance companies, it's ridiculous.
malpractice suits. That's what
So
raises
is
the
their
price.
insurance?
So you think
Yeah,
it's
they got
insurance?
their insurance is outrageous.
Yeah.
They're not making that money. The insurance companies are.
I mean, what better
There's got to
story?
be a cap on that.
You know, what better story to show the importance?
So if you belong to
Healthcare.
socialized medicine,
When
do you think you would have been invested in that? Do you think the government would have invested in you? Were you done working yet?
No, I was still working at the time this happened, and I still continue to work. I work in a high school now. But no, I don't think under a government plan, no, not to this extent. I would have been cut off at some point, I'm sure. And probably the person who has made a career out of benefits, getting free benefits from the government, probably would have made out better.
You know,
Yeah.
That should be an eye-opening experience, right? You know, everyone should open your eyes, folks.
Yeah, I hope
Listen
you
to what
guys
he's
listen
saying.
to that one, because that's a heavy right there.
yeah.
But that happened to my mother. My mother, my mother had breast cancer, and there was an experimental drug that she was not allowed to be a participant on because my father made too much money, which we would never had money. We always had financial struggles. But because she was on welfare, now if she was on welfare, they would have actually given her that drug. So she was never able to give that up. We'll never know if it would have worked or not. But the fact that she wasn't given the choice because the fact that my dad made too much money, and again, which was never a lot of money, but she was not on a
Which-
government.
So
We had the other side of the pendulum on that. We had a cousin Donna
Oh yeah,
that was not treated because she didn't have enough money.
right.
Yeah.
And she died of lung cancer.
And she recorded her doctor's meeting,
Mhm.
and it was on 60 Minutes.
Yes.
How the doctor wouldn't treat her because she was on Medicaid and didn't have enough money to be treated, and she had died
She
from
died
lung cancer.
very young.
Very young.
Very
she was in
young.
her 40s.
See, the problem is in the country, it's the politicians.
Right.
Right.
And you want to know something?
The country's great.
We have a
Right.
great
The
country.
people are great.
It's the
The
politicians.
people need to be
Leaders.
educated, and they have to vote out your leaders. We're at a point right now where we can change this country and bring it back to our youth and our parents' youth and our grandparents' youth through the ballot box. There needs to be no violence about this at all. We still have an opportunity to get these hacks, these animals, these thugs, because they like to call us thugs, these thugs out of office that are shaking us down.
They're not leaders today.
No,
They're not
they're mafiosos.
Right.
They wear their $3,000 suits while everybody else does their dirty work, and they parade around in front of us like they have all this knowledge and talk down to us because it's them. I don't know about you folks, but I've been spoken down to many years in my life, and I don't like it. Especially by somebody that I feel I can go
They work for
sentence
us.
for sentence, word for word in a debate and win them.
They work for us. We don't work for them.
It's funny you say the mafia and everything. Regulations is sort of like a mob coming in and saying, you owe us $50 a week,
But we're gonna
or
break your
things
thumbs.
might be broken.
Yeah.
We'll protect you from that.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be nothing wrong with your place if you pay up. That's what regulations are,
Yep.
you know? And about the health care. The doctors in England, guess what they are? They're government workers.
Yeah.
They make $100,000 a year and they have no incentive to learn anything else. Our doctors know if they become a specialist, they can make more money.
Right.
They can save more lives.
Yeah, if they heal
Over
more
there, it doesn't matter what they do. They're a government employee. This is what you're gonna make. Do you want that taken care of you?
people. When was the last time you went to the eye doctor?
What year is this?
You know, they have these new, they have such nice stuff sometimes now.
Do they?
Yeah, sure.
I just
You
need
can
them for
see.
reading.
Huh?
I just need them for reading.
Yeah.
And I can see that from there.
The problem is,
Yeah,
is you
but
learn how to
what-
read. If you
You
didn't learn
need
how to read,
extension
you wouldn't
on
need
your
that crazy glasses.
It's just
Folks,
those little things I can't
He can
see.
read that, but he can't see Jack over there.
Yeah.
I know he's there. I know he's there. I know he's there. So before we get into our big discussion today, when we gang up on James, and we will change his mind. We're gonna try like heck to change his mind. But anybody have any questions?
I don't think we'll change his mind. I think his leaders are going to change his mind.
Yeah, they're the ones that are leaving
I
us.
think he's going to say, dang it, they were right, but I can't let them know.
Because we did this the other day, and I found an extra piece of paper.
Oh, boy.
Well, start from the
Let me
beginning
throw it.
and leave the last piece of paper for last.
Oh, that's gonna be last.
Yeah,
You're right.
put that
well.
on the last.
Does anybody else want to talk about anything else?
Margaret brought up the welfare and everything, that they're making generations out of them. With all of this welfare and food stamps and everything, there's still 6 million children in the United States starving.
Got
Because
homeless
sometimes
veterans.
they use, sometimes they don't use their food stamps for food. They sell it,
For drugs.
and they get what they need, and their kids.
Which is readily
are left
available
behind.
now because of Dennis'
And
favorite
They
topic,
want that,
immigration.
Illegal.
right?
Illegal.
Illegal immigration.
I'm sorry.
And I was gonna bring that up as a topic of discussion, but we'll leave that for another time when we have the five of us together again, because we could talk a whole hour and that, maybe more.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.